give praise, glory, and honor to the Most High Yah by way of Yahushua Mashiach, our Master and Savior. Yuchanan, John 5:39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. So since we said that, go get you Telahim of Psalms 101. All day. I might end up doing it anyway. Psalms 101 and 1. And it says, I will sing mercy and judgment unto thee, O Yahuwah, will I sing. I will behave myself wisely in a perfect way. O, when wilt thou come unto me? I will walk within my house with a perfect heart. I will set no wicked thing before my eyes. I hate the work of them that turn aside. It shall not cleave to me. A froward heart shall depart from me. I will not know a wicked person. So the first thing he said that is that David is mentioning is that he will behave himself wisely in a perfect way. So hold this and get John 14 and about verse 4. So that means that we got, when we come and look at the going in the way of truth, we got to behave ourselves in a perfect way. So we're going to have to ascertain what that way would be. John, Yuchanan 14 and 4. Whither I go ye know, and the way ye know. Thomas saith unto him, Master, we know not whither thou go. How can we know the way? Yahushua said unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man come unto the Father but by me. If you had known me, you should have known my Father also. And from henceforth you know him and have seen him. So now he states this, he says, you'll know the way. And when you know the way, you would have known that you would know him, because you can't come to the Father but by him. Get the 6th chapter and the 44th verse of this same book. 6 and 44. He said, you can't, no man can't come to the Father but by him. So if you know him, that you know he the way, you'll go ahead and you'll follow him. And when you follow him, you're going to come to the Father. And when you come to the Father, you're going to know the way that you ought to go, which is what we were talking about before we started. No man can come to me except the Father which hath sent me draw him, and I will raise him up at the last day. It is written in the prophets, they shall all be taught of Elohim. Every man therefore that have heard and have learned of the Father come unto me. So that means when we actually go look in the law and in the Torah and in the Tanakh, what we actually looking at and trying to ascertain and figure out is, how do these things testify of the Son? Because when we read these things, we learning of the Father. We learning the Father's will. He said, I'll give you a prophet like unto thee, and him you shall hear, and I will put my words in his mouth. And whosoever will not hear him, I will require it of him. So when we see all these things that these people are doing in the Torah and the Tanakh, it's all pointing you in the way that you ought to go. And when you see that, when you see the Son come through and imitate these things, then you would actually know the way that you ought to go. Hello? Hello? How you doing? Then you'll actually know the way that you ought to go. And when you know the way that you ought to go, then you would know the Father, because when you see the Son, you see the Father. Matter of fact, since I say that, go get 1 John 3 and 1. What do you want, Elizabeth? He said, behold, what manner of love hath the Father bestowed on us, that we should be called the sons of Elohim. Therefore the world know us not, because it knew him not. Beloved, now we are the sons of Elohim. It doth not yet appear what we shall be, but we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. Now let's come over here to the 17th chapter of John real fast. And let's look at the 26th verse. And let's look at something Mashiach stated, or the 25th verse. Now we know the Most High is to keep his commandments. So we looking at it is to know his word. So when we looking at it is to know his word, that means it's to lay his word up in your heart. It's to conceal it, it's to hide it. And we'll look at Deuteronomy 11 and 20 after this, John 17 and 26. All these things will cause you to behave yourself in a perfect way. Because we know Telahim 19 and 7 say the law of Yah is perfect. It converts the soul. It's going to change you. It say, O righteous Father, the world have not known thee, but I have known thee, and these have known that thou hast sent me. And I have declared unto them thy name, and will declare, that the love whereof thou hast loved me may be in them, and I in them. So when he declared the name of Yahuwah, you know what he declared. He declared righteousness, he declared goodness, he declared truth, he declared forgiveness for iniquity and sin, but by no means clearing the guilty. That's what he declared. The reason why the apostles would be able to know that, because they knew the law. It's the same reason why Paul was able to know it once a Mashiach revealed himself to him, because he knew the law. So when he seen the Son, he seen the Father. He saw him for who he was. Those who don't know the Son, who don't know the Son, is because they don't know the Father. They don't know the Torah. They don't know the Tanakh. So it's impossible for them to know him. Deuteronomy 11 and 19. When we begin to actually walk in the Son and merge with him, we begin to walk in a perfect way, because we begin to walk in the perfection that Yah ordained from the foundation of the world in his Son. Make it 18. Deuteronomy 11 and 18. Hello. 18. That's what we begin to see. When we begin to, he said, I will behave myself wisely in a perfect way. We know that wisdom is the fear of Yahuwah. This is what Hamashiach showed. He feared Elohim, therefore he was heard. So we looking at, you got to behave yourself in a perfect way. That means every single time that we look at the Son, because we know there's a highway, and it shall be called the way of Kadesh. We know the Son sanctified itself by the truth, that we might set apart ourselves by the truth. So what we're looking at and we're trying to understand is this. Every time we look at a similitude of a Mashiach, we're looking at, boy, you drink that like a real alcoholic, boy. Got that root beer like, boy, you worked the 8-hour shift. I'm talking about, he drinking that root beer like a Budweiser, too. You see it. Get him a long neck one, too. You know what I'm saying? But every time we look at a similitude of a Mashiach, oh, yes, that's good root beer.
Yeah, right, delightful.
Yeah, I like root beer. That's good root beer. Every time though we look at a similitude of a Mashiach, what we're looking at is a similitude of a behavior that we are to imitate. You know what I'm saying? I know I done said it before, but I'm going to try to reiterate that more and more often in the future. God willing. That what we're looking at is a way to imitate a behavior. So when we look at David saying he going to walk and he going to behave himself wisely in a perfect way, we see when, like in Luke chapter 2, it talks about how Mashiach grew in wisdom and understanding. He behaved himself wisely in a perfect way. We could even look at that in Samuel, where it states that how David behaved himself wisely in everything. You know what I'm saying? Something else come to my mind. Let me read this Deuteronomy 11:17 and get you Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 14. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Well, 11 and 18, my apologies. Deuteronomy 11 and 18. Therefore shall you lay up these words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be frontlets between your eyes. So this is the key thing. Remember now, faith come by hearing, and hearing come by the word. So when you hear the word, you will be learning of the Father, and then obviously the Son would manifest himself to you. You would see him. And if you would see him, then you would do exactly what the Son said that he was coming to do. Thy Torah was within my heart, to do thy will, O my Elohim. This is the purpose of laying up the word in your heart. This is how your faith will never get shaken, never get shattered, never get weak or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because it will be in you. You know, let the engrafted word, which is able to save your soul, come into you. This is how you get quickened. This is how you get made alive. That's why he said the words that I speak unto you are spirit and life. So you got to go from listening to hearing. You know what I'm saying? It's not profiting you to listen. Because when you listening, you're not going to give it a more earnest heed. And when you're not giving a more earnest heed, then the things that you heard are going to slip. And when those things slip, then your faith gets small. And when your faith gets small, you have no problem going to commit sin at all. You know what I'm saying? You won't have no problem to do it, because your faith ain't where it's supposed to be, because you were listening and not hearing. That's why the word says that clearly. Faith come by hearing, and hearing come by the word Elohim. That means you got to hear. When you hear his voice. When you hear his voice, you're going to follow his instructions. If you're going to follow his instructions, you're going to take his instructions to heart. They're going to be in you. That's why he say, if you receive the anointing, you have no need that any man teach you, because that anointing abide in you. Meaning nobody would have to tell you to know Yah, because you would already know him, because he would be in you. You would know the things that please him. You would know the things that don't please him. You would know the things that would, in certain situations, the word would come to your mind. And it's a process of time that occurs. But you got to transition your mind from listening to hearing. Because when you hear it, you're going to store it. Now, of course, we done dealt with this before when he say bind them as a sign upon your hand. You know that Mashiach had that sign upon his hand when he was pierced in his hands, because didn't he show his apostles, look at my hands? So again, that goes back to what we were talking about when we talking about looking at a similitude and a pattern of behavior. He say, bind my laws, my words. He say, bind my words upon your hand as a sign. So you sitting back looking at, you want to die the death of the righteous. You want to be crucified with the Mashiach. So when you get crucified with a Mashiach, his word or his way, the way, the truth, and the life is binded upon your hand. You sitting back remembering, I've died to sin and rose again in newness of life, because I laid up his words in my heart. They're bound on my hand. And it says, and you shall teach them your children. And in the front, that's in your eyes, but I'm not going to do that. You shall teach them your children, speaking of them when thou sit in thy house, and when thou walk by the way, and when thou lie down, and when thou rise up. And thou shalt write them upon the doorposts of thine house, and upon thy gates, that your days may be multiplied in the days of your children in the land which Yahuwah swear unto your fathers to give them, as the days of Shamahim upon Arats. For if you shall diligently keep all these commandments which I command you to do them, to love Yahuwah your Elohim, to walk in all his ways, and to cleave unto him, then Yahuwah will drive out all these nations from before you, and you shall possess greater nations and mightier than yourself. Before I even get to that, Ephesians 5 and 14. You know, this is a powerful thing that he's sitting here telling them. He said, you know, to be diligent. You know what it means to be diligent, right? That means to be like anybody say, to be on your grind, to be on your hustle, to be working hard. If you work hard to keep this man's commandments, this man say he will remove all sinners from amongst you. He'll separate you from them. But let's look at this, Yahusha chapter 2, and about verse 24. And I'm looking at this here because this is why David said he wouldn't even know a wicked man. Make sure that's what I want. 2 and about 22. I don't know what I wanted. That was Judges 2 and 22. My apologies. But I'll start at about verse 18. Judges 2 and 18. Now this is when we're coming into the land right here. You know, Yahusha done brought the people into the land. They came out of the wilderness, and they're about to start taking over and overthrowing the kings and the people of the land to dwell there. It says, Yahuwah raised them up judges. Then Yahuwah was with the judge and delivered them out of the hand of their enemies all the days of the judge. For it repented Yahuwah because of their groanings, by reason of them that oppressed them and vexed them. That's why he said, come unto me all ye that labor, and I will give you rest, because of Mashiach was that judge, and Yahuwah was with him to deliver you, because you were always being oppressed and vexed by him who had power over death, that is the devil, who always by fear had you in bondage by reason of fear of death. You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all been groaning out and crying out because of your fear of death, because of the sins that you've been mired in. That's why he came to give you a deliverer, to remove that from you. But you got to allow him to save you. But let's see what he said though. It came to pass when the judge was dead that they returned and corrupted themselves more than their fathers in following other gods to serve them and to bow down unto them. They ceased not from their own doings, nor from their stubborn way. So now he's sitting back looking at when the Mashiach died, but better yet, rose from the dead. You didn't cease from doing what you wanted to do. You kept doing it. Even though this man had gave his life up for you, you continued to live for yourself. It says, and the anger of Yahuwah was hot against Yasharal. And he said, because that this people had transgressed my covenant. Hello? Hello? He said, the anger of Yahuwah was hot against Yasharal. He said, because that this people have transgressed my covenant, which I commanded their fathers, and have not hearkened unto my voice. Also, I will not henceforth drive out any from before them of the nations which Yahusha left when he died, that through them I may prove Yasharal whether they will keep the way of Yahuwah to walk therein as their fathers did keep it or not. My apologies, this is judgment. Joshua has died, and we already in the land. And then once we've been dwelling in the land after he died, because if I'm not mistaken, Joshua died at the age of 110. And that's what he was. He was 110 that he died. And as soon as he died, our people went to going ham. Went to doing what they wanted to do. And that's why y'all went and had to do opposite of what he said. Because he said, if you would diligently keep my commandment, I would separate you from sinners. That they wouldn't be able to come near you. I would take them down. He said the fear and the dread of you would come upon them, that they would be terrified of you and wouldn't want to be anywhere near you. But if you decline, because he said if you would cleave to Yahuwah, which means you would become one with him. That's why he said, Father, I have declared thy name, that the love wherewith you have loved me may be in them as it is in me. And that's cleaving to Yah. See, and when you cleave to Yah, you're not going to cleave to anything that's against him. It's not going to happen. But see, what happened with the people was because they didn't want to cleave to Yah, therefore he allowed those sinners to be right there to prove them. Because now I got to see if you're going to actually keep my word or not. Because I could have removed all these people if you were diligent enough to keep it. But since you decided that you didn't want to keep it, I'm going to leave them there. And I'm going to let them be a thorn in your side to continually test you, to prove you out. Who do you love more? Who does your desire lie to? Does it lie to me or does it lie to transgressors? Ephesians 5:14.
Hey, I'll go back there in your room and do that. Okay. Good. Go back in your room and do that. Turn on the light. Turn on the light in your room and do that.
Make it 6. Ephesians 5 and 6. He said, let no man deceive you with vain words, for because of these things come the wrath of Elohim upon the children of disobedience. Be not ye therefore partakers with them. Now, I didn't actually go read this in the law, but in the Torah, he tell you now. When he say with the people of the land, he say don't make no covenant with them. He said, yeah, I hear you. He said don't make no covenant with them. Don't give your daughters into marriage to them. Don't let your sons marry their daughters. Don't be partakers in anything that they do, because those abominations that they committed, I spewed them out of my land. And he said, I will do the same things to you, because they were the children of disobedience and the wrath fell on them. The same wrath that fell on the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Hizzites for their way of doing, if we cleave to them and be partakers with them, that same wrath is going to fall on us. That's why he said he left them there to prove you, to see what you were going to do, because you already knew these people were transgressors. He said, why would you cleave to them? He actually said that. He said, why have you made an agreement with the people of the land? Why have you done this? He says in verse 8, for you were sometimes darkness, but now you are light in the Mashiach. Walk as sons of light. For the fruit of the Ruach is in all goodness, righteousness, and truth, proving what is acceptable unto the master. So that's why he's sitting there telling you, if you're not a partaker with them and you diligently keeping his commandments and cleaving unto them, then you're going to prove what's acceptable to Yahuwah before these people face. That's what he wanted us to do to the nations that we were overthrowing, whose land we were entering into. The Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Hizzites, the Girgashites, the Amorites. We were supposed to be proving what was acceptable. Hello? What's going on this time? He would prove, that's what's proving what acceptable is. So to a certain extent, when those sinners are around, you're supposed to be proving to them who your power is and where it resides, which is in Yahushua HaMashiach by way of our Father Yahuwah. But if you don't sit back and you look at that and you're not diligently keeping the commandment, those people are going to take you down. He said, have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. For it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret. But all things that are reproved are made manifest by the light, for whatsoever doth make manifest is light. Wherefore he saith, awake thou that sleep, and arise from the dead, and Hamashiach shall give thee light. See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. This is why we came here. Hello? Hello? So when we look in Deuteronomy, right? Now what I was looking at. Where he said he would drive these people out to possess you, and that you would cleave to them and diligently walk in his ways. That's because you would fear him. And when you would fear him, that's what he's sitting here telling you, is to walk circumspectly. Walk circumspectly means to be consciously aware of every single solitary thing that you do. You know what I'm saying? This is how you would behave yourself in a perfect way. Because we know Yah's way is perfect. You know what I'm saying? His way is perfect. In order to be perfected, you got to walk in that perfect way. That's why I'm sitting there telling you, every time we look at a similitude in the Torah and the Tanakh, it's to point you to the Son. I mean, if you see the Father, you see the Son, right? And if you see the Son, then you would imitate the Son, because when you see the Son, you see the Father. Therefore, you would be imitating the Father. That's why he say, righteous Father, the world has not known thee. That's why he say, beloved, what manner of love have we called the sons of Elohim? The world know us not, because it know him not. So you'll sit back and look at it. Nobody, if somebody looks at you and can recognize you as being one of them, that means Yah is not in you. You know what I'm saying? That means you just sit back and look at your behavior. You got to sit back and walk circumspectly. You got to be wise. You're supposed to know what the will of the Most High is. You're supposed to know what it is. If you sitting back and you've been listening to the word, you know what the man's will is. Oh my, hold on one second, y'all. That's why he say redeeming the times, because the days are evil.
I'm not gonna plug that.
Oh, I didn't know that came up.
I have to hear it too.
Yeah, I mean, I hear it when I be at the house. At first I thought you were tripping. But that is it all the time though.
Yeah,
let's sit back and you got to be wise, man. That's why he sat back and said, he said, man, as soon as the judge was dead, you went right back to your rebellious and stubborn way. You went right back. You know what I'm saying? Went right back. You got to ask yourself, man, what are you going to follow the same pattern of your ancestors? Because your ancestors got booted out the land behind this and got delivered to the oppressor. That's what's going to end up happening, is he's going to deliver you to... Matter of fact, what that is, 2 Timothy. Let me see what that 2 Timothy is.
Yeah.
You know, I can't recall the top of my head, but you know, Paul stated that a certain person will be delivered over to Satan to be destroyed, that he might not blaspheme. You know what I'm saying? And when you sit back and look at it, that's what happened to our ancestors. Because we blasphemed this man's name through our behavior, he gave us over to these people. He gave you over to the oppressor. We sit back and look at it, if we don't walk wisely and we don't walk circumspectly, he'll give us over to the oppressor. Because Satan is your oppressor. You know, some of y'all just seen the photograph. I put it there, I wanted everybody to see it. You know, when you living in sin, Satan does not come at you. There's no need for him to come at you. He come at you when you moving to eliminate sin from your life. So when you see that temptation of moving to eliminate sin from your life, it's because this man is trying to take you down. You can't be that dumb not to recognize it. You know what I'm saying? When you got something pulling at you that you know could possibly take you off the way of y'all, that's something that you would have to eliminate. I wouldn't care how small it was. It could be something small, it could be something great. Because something small could end up something big after a while. You know what I'm saying? Come on back to Psalm 101. That's why he said he'll behave himself wisely in a perfect way. He gonna walk circumspect. He gonna know what the will of Mashiach is, the will of Yahuwah is. That's how David said he was gonna walk. Matter of fact, before I said that, get Ephesians 4:19. Since he said, I'll behave myself in a perfect way. He said, when will you come unto me? I'll walk within my house with a perfect heart. Get you 1 Kings 8:64 too. When you talking about walking in your house with a perfect heart, you know you the house. Know ye not ye the temple of Elohim? And the Ruach HaKodesh is in you? You know what I'm saying? As he say, when will you come unto me? The man will come unto you when you repent. When you walk before him with a perfect heart. When you walk before him in a perfect way, behaving wisely in the faith of Hamashiach, then he will come unto you and dwell with you. That's his desire, is to dwell with you. The question is, how really bad is your desire for him to dwell with you? Like I mentioned in that Luke 14, how many of y'all, about verse 33 if I'm not mistaken, how many of y'all sat down and counted the cost? How many of y'all willing to forsake everything that you have, everything that you desire that will go contrary to the will of the Most High in order to be considered to be his disciple? Because he said if you're not willing to forsake all that you have, you can't be his disciple. You can't. That's what he said. So that means if it was something you had to lose to save your soul, would you lose it? If it was something you had to walk away for to save your soul that you wanted ever so badly, would you walk away? Because Mashiach gave up everything. He came down from Shammahim and gave up his entire inheritance. Say he made himself poor that through his poverty we might be made rich. And we can't even give up our own lives, our own desires for him when he gave up everything. Ask yourself what you gave up for him in the last 60 days, in the last 6 months, in the last year. 4 and 20 would be better, or 19. He said, who being past feeling have given themselves over unto lasciviousness to work all uncleanness with greediness. But you have not so learned Mashiach, if so be that you have heard of him and have been taught by him, as the truth is in Yahushua, that you put off concerning the former behavior the old man which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust, and be renewed in the ruach of your mind, and that you put on the new man, which after Elohim is created in righteousness and true Kadesh. Wherefore put away lying, speak every man truth with his neighbor, for we are members one of another. Be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath. Neither give place to the devil. You heard what he told you. What you think that would mean about don't even give place to the devil? What y'all think that could mean by don't even give it an opportunity? Y'all don't even realize when he came to, Mashiach told you to watch and pray, for the ruach is willing, but the flesh is weak. Y'all don't realize when he was fasting for them 40 days and 40 nights, when that man came up on him, he was praying. He was weak, but he was watching though. He didn't even give Satan a place. Y'all be giving the devil a place. You know what I'm saying? That's how he ease in. You know what I'm saying? That's how I told y'all last week, man, just so y'all can know. And I'm going to reiterate it again. Satan savored the things that be of man and not the things that be of Yah. So you have to sit back and look at it. Whatever it is your desire is, whatever it is your weakness is, the things that you like, the things that you desire, the things that you covet, that's what he's coming with. You know what I'm saying? Just like I told you with the mob and with gangsters, man. That your killers don't come with mean faces. They come with smiles. You know what I'm saying? They come when you're at your weakest point. You don't realize that Judas them came when the Mashiach was at his weakest point? You know what I'm talking about? This man around here praying, and he had to be strengthened by a messenger because he was at his weakest point. And this when Judas come? That's when Satan come, when you at your weakest point. So when you catch yourself at your weakest point, you got to be able to not even give him place. You're supposed to be able to watch everything that's going around you, because 9 times out of 10, it could be a trap from the adversary. You got to be ready for that. That's why he say to walk circumspectly and be wise, because you got to use wisdom. You got to have discernment. Does that mean every time somebody come when you weak that that's the devil? No. But you're supposed to be on guard for it, because the one key thing you always supposed to look at is Satan comes with the things that be of man, not the things that be of Yah. That's how you know. You know what I'm saying? That's how you know. That's your first telltale sign. Somebody come at you with something that pleasing to your flesh, that is of the devil. If they come at you talking about anything that's of man, that is of the devil. If they come speaking of things that be of Elohim, then you'll be able to know. He say, my doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me. Any man do his will, he know if the doctrine is mine or is his, or I speak of myself. Because the things of Yahuwah are going to testify to your ruach inwardly, that you might hear his voice and follow and walk in that perfect way and walk with that perfect heart. The things that be of Satan, that's why he say the lust of your father ye will do. You know what I'm saying? See, when he talking about being born of Elohim, that means you will no longer live in a habitual, continual state of transgression. You know what I'm talking about? No, I was talking to T about this earlier, and I mentioned it to Lil Stanley them. I'm not going to go into great detail tonight, but y'all will. I do it on the Shabbat. Like you seen when Paul came and straightened Peter, right? He said that Peter was not walking uprightly according to the gospel. If he say Peter wasn't walking uprightly, then he say Peter is to be blamed. That means Peter did something wrong. You understand what I'm telling you? But he was not in a habitual state of transgression. That's why Yah did not depart from him. Peter was wrong. Him not sitting down and eating with them Gentiles was dissembling. You know what dissembling is? You know what it is? Dissembling is basically causing dissension. Well, basically, for all intents and purposes, discord. You know what I'm talking about? We know that one of the things that Yah hate is somebody who sow discord among brethren. Peter was fearful of the Yahudim. That's why he wouldn't sit down with the Gentiles and eat with them. He removed himself from them. This is why Paul came and said, boy, you wrong for that. But then like when we go look at King Saul, we know King Saul did a lot of things that he wasn't supposed to do, didn't he? He told him, boy, do this here, and he didn't do it. Do this here, he didn't do it. Do this here, I need you to kill all the Amalekites, kill everything they got. He didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? When you go read 1 Samuel 16, I want to say about verse 14, you'll see that when the spirit of Yahuwah left Saul, an evil spirit came and tormented him. You know what I'm talking about? He was troubled from that point forward. And then in 1 Samuel 28 and 6, you'll see where Saul tried to seek Yah, and he said Yah didn't answer him by vision. He didn't answer him by dream or prophet or by Urim and Thummim. You remember what the Urim and Thummim is? That's the things that the priests use, right? To get an answer from Yah. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. Y'all will go back over it again. You know what I'm saying? But Yah didn't answer it. You know what I'm talking about? Like when Yah reject you, you ain't got nothing. You have what you will have if he was with you and he gone as a habitual state of despair. You know what I'm talking about? Because Saul was despair. Well, you know what Saul did after he did that? Did you know what he did? He asked for Samuel. He went to somebody who had a familiar spirit, which is an abomination before Yah. And the woman didn't even want to pull Samuel up because she said, you know, Saul is killing all the people with familiar spirits. But because Yah was gone, he was so terrified, he was willing to go commit an abomination to get an answer. Because he gave Saul over to his own desire. Because Saul was continually disobedient. To the point where Yah said, I repented, I even made him king. Snatched his spirit back. Because he said when the spirit came on Saul, he turned into another man. He said Yah gave him another heart. But at the end of the day, he was stubborn. He didn't diligently seek those commandments. He didn't lay those words up in his heart because he was more concerned about doing what he wanted to do. That's what will hinder you from him coming unto you. Hold on, let me finish this here. Verse 28, let him that stole steal no more, but rather let him labor, working with his hands the thing that which is good, that he may give to him that needs. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that they may minister favor unto the hearer. Grieve not the Ruach HaKodesh of Elohim, whereby you are sealed unto the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. Be ye kind one to another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Hamashiach's sake have forgiven you. Now y'all don't realize this is you should be able to forgive each other because the Most High forgave you for Yahushua's sake. Stop there. He didn't have to do that, but for Hamashiach's sake, he forgave you. So he's sitting back telling you, you need to have that same tenderness of heart towards each other and forgive each other. Now come on back to Psalm 101. Oh, I'm sorry. I said 1 Kings 8 and 64. It's actually 61. 1 Kings 8 and 61. It says, let your heart therefore be perfect with Yahuwah your Elohim, to walk in his statutes and keep his commandments as it is this day. So that's what that's sitting back looking at when you heard the truth of a Mashiach and you created yourself into a new man and righteousness and true Kadesh, you would make your heart perfect towards Yah, which means to be complete and mature. Matter of fact, Hebrews 5 and 12. And get you 2 Timothy 3 and 14. Now it's talking about teachers in this Hebrews 5 and 12, but I want y'all to understand something though at the same time. Because he say, who will be drawn from the breast and weaned from the milk? He say, for when the time comes that you ought to be teachers, you have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of Elohim, and become such as have need milk and not of strong meat. What's the first principles of the oracles of the word? What's the first principles of the oracles of Yah? What's the first principle? Anybody know what that first principle is? The fear. He say, here, O Yasharal, Yahuwah Elohim is one. You know what I'm talking about? That's the first principle. If you got to go back to the first principle of fearing this man and keeping his commandments, then you are a baby. He say, for everyone that use milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a baby. But strong meat belong to them that are of full age, even though those by whose reason of use their senses exercise to discern between good and evil. When over a period of time, you should have grown in the word. You should have matured in the word. To the point where you eat meat, and when you eat this meat, you can discern between what is good and what is evil. You can see it, you can spot it because your senses have been exercised. The same way your senses get exercised as you grew in a natural sense. 2 Timothy 3:14. But if your senses, if you're not a full age and your senses haven't been exercised, it's for this reason right here. Man, come on, man. But continue thou in the things which thou hast learned, and hast been assured of knowing whom thou hast learned them. And that from a child thou hast known the Kadesh scriptures, which are able to make thee wise unto salvation through faith which is in Yahushua HaMashiach. So you'll sit back and look at it. All the time that we done spent looking at this stuff is to make you wise unto salvation, which is through Yahushua HaMashiach. You would be able to redeem the time. You would most definitely know how to walk and obey because you would have been hearing the word versus listening to the word. All scripture is given by inspiration of Elohim and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness. That means every time we look at any scripture, it's given by remember, there's an inspiration of man. That inspiration is the Ruach of Yahuwah. And it's profitable for you to be taught in. There's gain for you in that. It's gain for you when you corrected by it. It's gain for you to be taught how to be righteous before Yah. He say that the man of Elohim may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works. This is why he tell you to sit back and let your heart be perfect with this man. Your heart needs to be complete. You're going to have to grow up to a certain extent. You're going to have to begin to mature. You can't stay in a fetal position. You can't stay in a fetal stage. You can't stay an infant. You can't stay a baby. You know, in the beginning, you should have desired the sincere milk of the word that you should grow thereby. But after a period of time, 2 Peter chapter 1. After a period of time, there has to be some manner of growth. 2 Peter 1 and 3. And it says, according as his divine power hath given unto us all the things that pertain unto life and godliness, through the knowledge of him that has called us to esteem and virtue. So every time we sitting back looking at, I'm going to behave myself wisely in a perfect way. And we looking at it, the Mashiach is that perfect way. And that we supposed to lay these words up in our heart, that when we will come to the Son, that no one can come to the Father but by the Son, because we learning the knowledge of him. This is just reiterating the fact of every similitude we look at is the knowledge of him, which will call us to the esteem to be called the Son of Yah, and that virtue or that pureness that we desire, right? Hello? Hello? All right then. Say, so listen what he say. Whereby are given unto us exceeding great and precious promises, that by these you might be partakers of the divine nature, having escaped the corruption that is in the world through lust. So if you want to be a part of the divine nature, you're going to have to flee the corruption of the world through desire, right? That's all that's tying back to like when we left up out of Mizraim, out of Egypt. You were escaping the world through lust. See, those who were in the wilderness didn't want to escape that world, did they? Because they kept asking for the things that they did. You know, in Egypt we had this. In Egypt we had this. And that's what some of y'all look at. In the world I had this. In the world I could do this. In the world I could do that. But in being partaker of the divine nature, you have to escape that. And you have to leave that behind. This is why he didn't move those sinners away from these people. And they were thorns in their side to prove them out. Listen to what you need to add now. He say, besides this, giving all diligence. Didn't the law say you need to learn diligently keep his commandments? Add to your faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge. So that virtue is, first thing you do, wash you, make you clean, and cease from doing evil from before my eyes. Then begin to learn of your power. And to learn of your power, you got to begin to hear and not listen. Just don't be sitting there like this here, yeah, boy, he dropped something, and then you walk off, and then that word took no effect on you because you didn't take it with you. Some of y'all write some good old notes down, but it's more like you in school. You just writing this stuff down. You know what I'm saying? Take that stuff with you. When I'm talking about take it with you, it should go wherever you go, shouldn't it? Ain't I always told you that? It should go with you wherever you go. It should be to a point where you don't necessarily need to have the scriptures with you. It's just get to a point that you might necessarily don't even need to have an app to look at, because the word is in you. It should come to your head. You know what I'm saying? You get in a certain situation, you should hear this man. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to hear Luke chapter 6, verse 22, but you should hear his voice in your head. The word should be there. Some of y'all be hearing the man, you just don't listen to him. And to knowledge, temperance. So once you've learned of the Most High, then you would learn the discipline. You would learn to control yourself. You would learn to keep yourself back. And to temperance, patience. And then if you got this patience, you'll be able to wait. And to patience, godliness. And to godliness, brotherly kindness. And to brotherly kindness, charity. For if these things be in you and abound, they make you that you shall neither be barren nor unfruitful in the knowledge of our Master, Yahushua HaMashiach. So if you to sit back and look, that's what I'm talking about. Every similitude we done looked at, numerous occasions have shown us all of these things. That if you had took knowledge of that and laid it in your heart, then you wouldn't be barren. You would be bearing fruit in Yahushua HaMashiach. But listen to what he said though. But he that lacked these things is blind and cannot see afar off, and have forgotten that he was purged from his old sin. So if these things are not in you, that means you can't see. That means that go right back to what we were looking at in Ephesians chapter 5. You blind. And he's telling you, wake up out of sleep and let a Mashiach give you light, because you still in darkness. Because he who abide in darkness know not where he go. You done forgot your sins been purged. You can't even see far off to the hope that you going after, because you didn't lay these things up to you. And if you barren, that means your womb is dead. You're not bringing forth no fruit. Come on back to Psalm 1:1 now. One more thing you say in Psalms 1:1. Then we'll move on. Y'all all right this evening? I'll take that as a no. I mean, as a yes. My apologies. So when we look at that verse 3, right, listen to what he tell you. We done went through verse 2. Listen to what he tell you. A froward heart shall depart. I will set no wicked thing before mine eyes. I hate the work of them that turn aside. It shall not cleave to me. So let's look at 2 Peter chapter 2 about verse 7. We looked at this the other day. We're going to look at it again. He said he hate them that turn aside. He said he won't even set a wicked thing before your eye. Get you the epistle of Jude and about the 14th verse. Listen to what he said. He said, and delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy behavior of the wicked, because Lot didn't set no evil thing before his eye. He was vexed at this stuff. He didn't allow this stuff to cleave to him. That's what we were talking about last week, man. Evil communications corrupt good manners. So whether it be living here in America, living here in Babylon, or dealing with your family members, or dealing with people you come across and deal with, if you're not careful, these people's sins will cleave unto you. You're supposed to sit back and look at somebody committing sin before your face ought to offend you greatly. You shouldn't even want to see it. You know they doing the things that work death. Because you love y'all, you're going to hate evil. Therefore, you're going to hate them, meaning I don't want to be around you. I choose not to affiliate myself with you. He said, for that righteous man dwelling among them, seeing and hearing, vex his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. The master know how to deliver the godly out of temptations and to reserve the unjust until the day of judgment to be punished. This man know how to get his people up out of stuff. He know how to get you up out of stuff. And he know how to take a sinner and kill him. He say, but chiefly, them that walk after the flesh and the lust of uncleanness despise government. Presumptuous are they, self-willed. They are not afraid to speak evil of dignities. All this is telling you that you walk in the flesh and the lust of uncleanness, you hate government, you hate authority, you hate Yah. This is what you hate. This is why they killed the Mashiach. They despised authority because they walked in the lust of the flesh. They were unclean. They hated the man. That's why they hated Moses. That's why they hated Jeremiah. Those who are in the flesh hate those who have the word. They hate those who speak the word. They hate those that live the word. And they're not in their self-will. They have no desire to do what Yah says. They have a desire to do what they want to do. And they're not afraid to speak evil of those who serve him. They're not afraid to speak evil of those who preach his word. They're not scared to go against it. Because at the end of the day, their will is more important than what the word of Yah say. And all of that happened because you set evil things before your eyes. Man, this stuff is a lot easier to happen to y'all than you think. It all comes down to is where you setting your will at. Where you setting your heart at. What's the most important to you? Let's look at this epistle of Jude. Make it 18. That's why it's imperative when we look at what David stated. David said he wasn't going to set no wicked thing before his eye. He said, don't even let it cleave to me. You know, a little leaven, leaving it the whole lump, right? He say, purge out that old leaven that you may be a new lump in Mashiach. That's why you don't want that stuff to cleave to you, because then it's all the way in, you're going down. He said, how that they told you that there should be mockers in the last time who should walk after their own ungodly lusts. These be they who separate themselves sensual, not having the Ruach. But ye, beloved, building up yourselves on your most Kadesh faith. So in order to build, remember we talked about this here. Zion, I said in Zion, a foundation, a chief cornerstone. You're supposed to be building yourself up on the knowledge of a Mashiach, walking in that perfect way. Praying in that most set apart faith. That's why he say watch and pray. You're supposed to be watching and making supplication to Yah that he would deliver you out of temptation. But you know what a lot of y'all don't do? You don't pray, you don't watch, you don't build yourself up on your faith. That's why when temptation comes, you don't recognize it. And when it comes, you fall. And when you fall, you can bring forth death. He said, praying in the Ruach HaKodesh, keep yourselves in the love of Elohim, looking for the mercy of our Master, Yahushua HaMashiach, unto eternal life. And some have compassion, making a difference. And others save with fear, pulling them out of the fire, hating even the garment spotted by the flesh. You know, we want white robes, right? Clean and white. You know what I'm saying? Which is the fine linen, which is the righteousness of the saints. We don't want it to be spotted with the flesh. And your flesh dwells no good thing. That's why he say the spirit is willing, the flesh is weak. Say the flesh profit nothing. You know what I'm saying? There's no gain from that. You're not going to get anything from that. All the wicked is they love the flesh. That's why Satan deals with the things that be of man. He cares for the things that are of man. When you deal with the things that are of man, you're going to go down. You know what I'm saying? Now, I want y'all to sit like this here, like, you know, making a living, that's not a thing that's of man, right? But it can come in when your desire to make a living trumps what Yah said, then you're dealing with the things that are man, right? When he said the cares and affairs of this life choke off the word that don't bring forth no fruit, because that begins to take over. You know what I'm saying? Even want to be married, wanting to buy certain things, wanting to go certain places. You know, you have to sit back and look at all these things, because there's none of those things where you can intrinsically say, oh, see, that's of man. Those are things that life, that regular people want to do. But when those things come in and they begin to trump what the words say, now you're beginning to deal with the things of man. You're beginning to become self-willed, because your desire is greater than what this man say do. You know, the biggest, easiest example to prove is working on the Shabbat. That's the easiest one to use. You know what I'm saying? It's the easiest one. Then sit back and look at it, and they be like this here, boy. Well, I got to pay my bills. They ain't got no problem going to work on Shabbat. You know what I'm saying? Because they look at it as, hey, that's the things of man. Having a job is not the things that are man. Everybody got to work. Everybody got to make a living. But then it becomes the things that be of man when it come in and it override the word. You know what I'm saying? Well, if you're dealing with something that would cause you to even think about overriding the word, it's time to take that and flush that down the toilet. That ain't something that's going to be beneficial or profitable to you. It's going to end up being for your downfall. It's going to end up being for your destruction. No matter what it is. You know, something, now I can give you one thing that's of man. Drinking alcohol, smoking marijuana, smoking cigarettes. That's clear as day, that's of man. You know what I'm saying? That's something that men want to do. And you'll see dudes make a million and one excuses to go ahead and smoke their weed and drink their alcohol and smoke their cigarettes, smoke their blacks. You know what I'm saying? All that there. That's of the flesh. That's of man. There's nothing spiritual about that. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't sit around a nigga smoking no weed. You know what I'm talking about? I'd be offended. I've been to look at it, bro, you need to put that out, or I'm going to walk away. But you know what's going to happen, though? Niggas already going to know. Don't even fire that up around me. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who knows me. Now, of course, you're dealing with regular, everyday people walking around smoking cigarettes. You know, they'll smoke their cigarette when they get ready. Somebody who know you wouldn't even stand up, and they know how you live and know what you stand for, they wouldn't dare do that. They wouldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? They feel like, and then the part is, if they do it and you sit there with them, what that say about you? Nigga walk up to me like this here, bro, and smoke this black, I'm sitting here smelling it. And I know I used to smoke too. You know what I'm talking about? So I know them things stink. And a Newport, it stink on a whole nother level. And I'm going to sit there while this nigga smoking this in my face, blowing this smoke in my face. I'm sitting right here with him. This nigga sitting right here with a big old bottle of Patron, getting straight up pissy drunk. I'm finna sit here and watch him drink. What type of sense? That makes sense to you? I'm going to sit here and watch this nigga drink. We might as well be a partaker with him in his evil deeds because you stamping it. You know what I'm saying? You stamping it. You just as guilty because you there with him. Because that man told you don't set no wicked thing before your eyes. I ain't even finna watch it. I ain't finna look at it. I be seeing Hebrew dude argue about watching porn. Nigga sitting in the house playing with himself, talking about he finna, on Facebook, probably trying to drop some word beating at me. You know what I'm talking about? I done seen dudes say there ain't nothing wrong with watching no porn. I don't see how he did that one. You know, in the world, niggas like this, nigga shame to tell somebody he watching porn. At least he don't want to get caught with it. Because you know, everybody nigga be hiding they porn. I had a homeboy, that nigga had all their porn magazines in the ceiling. I mean, we were teenagers though. You know what I'm talking about? About 16, 17 years old.
You talking about hiding?
Yeah, hiding.
No, I thought you were talking about posting.
No, he had them hidden.
Yeah.
You know, you'll walk in there, Jeff be like, hold on. He'll take that little thing out and slide it back. He got magazines and tapes in there galore. I'm talking about, boy, what you got up there? That's how we caught my homeboy watching that tape with the two men. And my vision was not that you were watching tape with men on it, but why do you even own that tape? And the worst part is, Jeff told him, you don't want that tape, man. There's men on there. He took it with him anyway. He took it with him anyway. We came around there to the house, boy, he ain't even like this here. Grandma said, he in the back. We done went around there. He said, boy, what you watching? He told me, man, I was fast forward. You wasn't fast forward, and nigga, you were watching that. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't no tape moving or nothing. Nigga, you were watching that. You know what I'm saying? That ain't cool, man. I mean, we had to sit back and all jokes and then playing. You had to sit back and look at that, man, when you considering listening to music, watching television shows, watching movies. You had to sit back and realize, is this something that I really care to look at? Because I don't want to set no wicked thing before. Like, you ain't finna go watch Brokeback Mountain with two sisters in it. You know what I'm saying? You might not go watch Players Club because you know this here, man, it's butt naked women in here. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to pass on that. I'm going to pass on that. I'm going to pass on it. You got to sit back and look at it, man. So a lot of my friends I ain't seen, man, I'm not finna be going, hey, we having to get together. And I know these niggas finna have liquor galore, cussing, all type of stuff. I'm straight on that. I'm not going around there for that. I'm not going around there for that. I have no desire to be a part of that. That's why he say a fry with heart I put away from me. That's a rebel. Come back and look at it. What he talking about? Psalm 101, a fry with heart. Then get you Psalm 139. You don't want to mess around if you continue to be sensual. The things that allow you to continue to be sensual is because you're not laying the word up in your heart. This is why he was telling them to diligently lay these things up in their heart. When you diligently lay these things up, we were sensual coming up out of Mitzrayim. Remember, we coming up out of bondage, right? So we are carnal-minded people. We were getting taught and learning a spiritual concept, a spiritual way. To turn us from being a sensual people and to a spiritual people. But a lot of our people resisted that because they wanted to remain sensual. They wanted to remain fulfilling the desires of their flesh and walking in that. This is why they didn't have no problem despising Moses. That's why they didn't have no problem speaking evil of him. Just like I told you, they didn't have no problem speaking evil of Hamashiach. They didn't have no problems with doing this. You have to catch yourself to make sure that you're not doing that. I'm going to tell you something, man. You can always tell when that flesh get hit because niggas fight hard. Niggas go hard. You know what I'm saying? See, the Ruach is a shalom, right? You're going to have peace. So if the word come and it's not something that you doing or want to do and you hear it, it's not going to affect you. You're not going to react that way. But when you carnal and you sensual and you in your flesh and that word come and it prick your heart and it hit you, you're going to lose your mind because your flesh don't want to give up a particular behavior. It might not want to give something up, so it's going to fight because it don't want to hear that. And it's going to try to find fault with the word. This is why he means by speaking evil against dignity. You know what I'm saying? It's going to want to fight because it wants to walk in that lust. It wants to walk in that desire. This is what it wants to do. That's why Paul told you, in my flesh dwell no good thing. Ain't nothing good in the flesh. There's no profit. There's no gain. Verse 3, verse 4 says, a froward heart shall depart from me. I will not know a wicked person. Froward means rebelliously contrary. So you just sit back and look at it. You're going to have to remove a rebellious heart from you. When you remove a rebellious heart from you, then of course you're not going to know a wicked person because you're not going to deal with a wicked person. Look at Psalms 139. Man, y'all need to calm it down. Psalms 139 and 19. This is why Yah said if we would have diligently kept his commandments, then he would have removed these people from us. But because after he died, after Mashiach died, so to speak, we corrupted ourselves, he left these people around to prove you whether you would keep the commandments or not. That's why he say, examine yourselves if you be in the faith. Examine yourselves if you be reprobate or not. Take yourself and line yourself up with the word and see if you have worth with Yah or are you worthless with it. Line yourself up with it. Look at the direction. Look at your thoughts. Are you a babe? Are you a full age? Can you discern between what's good and what's evil? If you can't discern between what's good and what's evil, what's spiritual and what's carnal, then you still a baby. You know what I'm saying? Lee and Lindsay, they don't know. I mean, they know a little bit right from wrong, but they don't know that they babies. Isaiah, he's a baby. They're babies. They don't know nothing. You know what I'm saying? He just coming out. Is he just coming off the boot? He's still on it, so he's a fresh baby. Because that's what babies do. They go get breast milk. That's why he say you unskillful in the word. You a babe. That's why he say you wean from the breast. Some of y'all should already be off the breast. You should be a full age. You shouldn't still be no baby. If you still a baby, that's because you weren't hearing. And you got to look at yourself about that. That rests with yourself. What was you got to look at yourself at what was causing me not to hear. What was causing me not to lay the word up in my heart? What was causing me not to give the more earnest heed? You know what I'm saying? Just don't get caught up in, boy, I watch about 2-3 videos, boy. I got all these notes, you know, you write this stuff down, this, that, there, and the third. How much of that stuff written on your heart, though? How many of y'all binded that stuff on your hands as a sign? How many of y'all laid the word up in your heart? That's what's going to navigate you. That's what's going to direct you. You know what I'm saying? It's like this, all this for is just to give you a little kick in the pants, man. You know what I'm saying? A little nudge to go. A little nudge to take your salvation a little bit more seriously. I'm going to tell you something. You could be single and your focus could still be on Yah. And if the word still ain't laid up on your heart and you single, then that's a problem. You get married, of course, your focus going to be on your wife or your husband. That's a given. You know what I'm talking about? But you should have a wife or a husband that where both of y'all on the same accord on. Saving our soul is what we about. You know what I'm saying? That's what we about. So even though, you know what I'm saying, I seek to please my wife, I seek to please my husband, especially my husband would never let me fall off a detour from the word. You know what I'm saying? Or let me slack here. And obviously you would have a woman who would keep you motivated to do what you're supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? But especially if you single and you distracted, that's a problem. That's a problem. You ain't got no reason to be distracted. You know what I'm saying? Because I know you get married, you're going to be distracted to a certain extent. I mean, there ain't no way around that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just going to happen. But that's still no excuse to sit back and say, well, I don't never want to get married because I don't want to never be distracted. That don't make sense either. Because most of y'all don't want to live the rest of your life single. I don't think most of y'all got that type of strength. Talking about going 10, 15, 20 years and not touch another human being. I don't think most of y'all can hold out that long. You know what I'm saying? That takes some strength. Everybody don't have that. Matter of fact, let me read that to you. Before we read this Psalm 139. Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, about verse 3. Verse 2. Matter of fact, just make it 1. He say, now concerning the things whereof you wrote unto me, is it good for a man not to touch a woman? Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. So then you got to sit back and look at that. To avoid fornication, this man say to get married. Now, if you just go get married just because you don't want to have sex, just you want to have sex, that would be retarded, depending on who you're going to marry. Because you know the book says a virtuous woman, a man's heart should be able to rest safely in his wife. That means this man should be able to trust this woman with every aspect of his entire life. Because if you got a wife and you can't trust her, you ain't got nothing. You know what I'm saying? You have nothing whatsoever. You turn around and look at a woman, this woman ought to be able to trust that this man can direct her in righteousness. You know what I'm saying? That he can give her the love, the compassion, and direction that she needs. Because, you know, you don't say, I ain't said it in so long. The framework of a marriage is supposed to be just like the order is in Shamahim. You know what I'm talking about? That's exactly how it's supposed to be. You know what I'm talking about? The husband's supposed to be Hamashiach, the wife supposed to be Yasharal, and then the kids are the offspring. You know what I'm saying? And it's supposed to be set up and ran like that. That if we were taught that from youth, and our whole community was set up like that, then we wouldn't have, like in our city, we wouldn't have all these young boys getting shot and killed in the street every day. You know what I'm saying? A lot of our sons wouldn't be out here selling crack. 1 out of 3 of us wouldn't be in prison. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be all these rump rangers and bulldaggers running around here. You know what I'm talking about? A lot of the stuff that you see going on wouldn't be going on if we had been taught the framework of how our power wanted us to operate in the first place. You know what I'm saying? But what got us out of pocket was we wanted to be hanging and slanging and tooting and booting, and that's what took over. We got sensual. You know what I'm saying? We were separate from the Ruach. Therefore, we weren't locked into those ideals. We weren't locked into those principles. We wasn't locked into that discipline. Therefore, we just had a free-for-all. He said, let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto the husband. The wife have no power over her own body, but the husband. And likewise also the husband have not power over his own body, but the wife. Defraud ye not one the other, except it be consent for a time, that you may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt ye not for your incontinency. But I speak this by permission and not of commandment. For I would that all men were even as myself, but every man have his proper gift of Elohim, one after this manner and another after that. That's the gift Paul was given. I'll show it to you in Matthew 19. Everybody don't have that. 19 and 10. Well, 19 and 7. Everybody don't have that. So you have to sit back and look at that. Because that goes in that Paul had this proper gift, because that comes from self-control. Where would that self-control come from? Because he gave diligence to add to his faith virtue and temperance and knowledge and godliness and brotherly kindness and love and faith. This is the things that added into him from the knowledge of Yahushua HaMashiach, that he would have that gift to be able to do that. You can sit back and look at all the things that were mentioned that Apostle Peter said, Kepha said should be added to your faith. We could actually go back in the law and see in the Most High teaching us to do that. Everything that he said. He said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. That's brotherly kindness. He said, love me with all your heart and all your soul and keep my commandment. That's charity. He told you don't cut down and glean all the grapes, but leave it for the poor. That's brotherly kindness. When he told you temperance, he told you thou shalt not steal, thou shalt honor thy father and thy mother. All these things are virtue. All the things he told you to refrain yourself from was to show you temperance, to hold yourself back. When he told you wait on me, trust in me, I'll do this, that was the patience. All these things are in the Torah where he showed you these things. Hello? Shalom. All these things are in the Torah where he showed you these things, man. All of them. Everything that Peter said, these principles you got to add to your faith. We can literally go right in the law and show you where we were taught that, coming up out of Mizraim. All Peter would come and do, he just was reiterating it then through Hamashiach. That's why he said, if you've heard of the Father, you would have come to me. Because the Father was already telling you what the Son. But let's look at what he's going to say right here. They say unto him, why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement and to put her away? He said unto him, Moses, because of the hardness of your heart suffered you to put away your wives, but from the beginning it wasn't so, it was not so. And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, commit adultery. And whoso marry her which is put away doth commit adultery. His disciples said unto him, if the case of the man be so with his wife, it is not good to marry. But he said unto them, all men cannot receive this same, save they to whom it is given. For there are some eunuchs which are born from their mother's womb. And there are some eunuchs which are made eunuchs of men. And there be eunuchs which made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of Shammahim's sake. He that is able to receive it, let him receive it. Everybody can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't do that. Because when you do that, you sanctifying yourself in body and ruach and saying that you're going to live for Yah, period. And what I'm reiterating that for you, because if you single, there should be no single solitary way that you are distracted. There's no single solitary way that the word should not be in your heart. You know what I'm saying? There's no way that should happen. Because your singular soul focus should be on Yahuwah. There's no way that should happen. I'm going to tell y'all something. I had a situation, man, from 2010 to almost 2013, dealing with a woman in a particular fashion. And boy, it wasn't nowhere in the world I was going to let nobody distract me from y'all. That just wasn't going to happen. I could get married tomorrow, and that's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't allow that to happen with my wife. I at least would tell her that. The whole point of what I'm dealing with, what we started with, man, y'all got to start hearing and not listening. That word's got to start penetrating and resonating in your heart. It's got to start resonating. Stop it, both of you, now. It's got to start resonating in your mind. This man say, receive with meekness the engrafted word which is able to save your soul. When you receive with humbleness of mind and heart, to have a perfect heart, to receive this man's word, there's no way you'll set a wicked thing before your eyesight. There's no way you would have a rebellious heart and be self-willed to do what you want to do. There is no way that you would even let a wicked person cleave to you. This is why we read that in Deuteronomy. He said, cleave to Yah. I'll get these nations from amongst you. But instead, you wanted to cleave to the nations, and these sinners took you down, and now I got to leave them around you to see whether you love me or not. That's why some of y'all, that's why certain people are in your life. It's to see who you love. It's to see where your desire is. It's to see whom you want to serve. It could be your job. It could be your family. It could even be your own, it could be your children. You know what I'm saying? Because some of y'all might go against the word for your children. You know what I'm saying? You got to sit back and look at it. Well, it could be something you want to buy. You know what I'm talking about? It could be something you own. It could be, matter of fact, it could be certain desires, things you want in your life and your heart, and y'all could be pulling that out just to see if you love him or not. That's why he say, blessed is the man that endure temptation, for when he's tried, he receive a crown of life. Say the Most High don't tempt nobody with sin, but he sure gonna prove you out though. Because you think that's him tempting you with sin by leaving the Canaanites and all them in the land? No, I gotta prove you out. Once that man prove you out that you love him, he'll accept you and never let you go. You know what I'm talking about? But you got to be proven out. See, a lot of y'all ain't had no situation to be proved out. And it has to come around for him to prove you out. So what you going to choose to do? Who you going to choose to follow? What's the most important thing to you? You know what I'm saying? A lot of people fail that test. You know what I'm saying? I just seen a brother earlier say, hey, people asking why he don't teach the word openly no more. And he went to talk about there's so many doctrines and everybody say they're right and all this, that, there, and the third. And he said, I'm just falling back. I ain't fell off. If you ain't no falling back. How you fall back from Yah's work? Where you ever read in the word where somebody fell back from doing Yah's work? You ever read that before? Any of y'all ever read that before? Somebody been sent to labor and they fall back from doing Yah's work.
I didn't know niggas who tried to.
Yeah, there's quite a few that tried to. He told them, get your rusty butt up and go somewhere.
Niggas tried to.
You know what I'm saying? Go sit. I want y'all to look at Romans 15 before we get out of here. In fact, we might have to get out of here for that. I'll touch it loosely. Matter of fact, I ain't gonna touch it at all. You know,
I was about to say loosely, nigga, please. You know,
it's almost 9 o'clock. So,
loosely,
y'all so late. You know what I'm saying? I just sat back and thought that on myself. Well, I said, yeah, that's what I want to deal with the weak, supporting the strong. But I ain't get around there to it. And if I start that there, that's 2 hours in itself. So I'm going to leave that alone. You know what I'm saying? But I want y'all to come over here to Matthew 11:27, and we'll stop right there.
You tried that.
No, I thought I wouldn't. Yeah, if I would have went and did, I wouldn't have did it no justice. And it's 8:45, and I'm not going to go past that. He said, all things are delivered unto me of my Father, and no man know the Son but the Father, neither know any man the Father save the Son, and he whomsoever the Son will reveal it. That's why you got to behave yourself. That's why he say, when will you come unto me? He said, I will behave myself wisely in a perfect way. When wilt thou come unto me? He said, I will walk within my house with a perfect heart. Well, Yahuwah can't come unto you until he revealed his Son unto you. And he can't reveal his Son unto you till you ready to walk in a perfect way. And you ready to perfect your heart. And you ready to put evil things from before your face. And you ready to, and you willing to get rid of that froward, rebellious heart. That you willing to no longer be sensual, no longer to walk in the lust of uncleanliness, no longer desire to be self-willed, and that you begin to add the things to your faith. Most High willing, I'm gonna go into that more detail to actually pinpoint and show y'all that stuff in 2 Peter, what he was talking about. Like every instance of where this man taught us this. You know what I'm talking about? He taught us this. I'm going, before I finish this Matthew 11, I'm going to read those things over again. Y'all ain't got to go get it. But Most High willing, we're going to sit back and we're going to look at it. We're going to see what this, because we read in Deuteronomy, he said, give diligence, right? To learn them commandments, to keep them commandments and cleave to Yah. And you cleave to Yah, that means you'll be a partaker of his divine nature. Clear as day. So we're going to have to go back, Yah willing, on the Shabbat, and we're going to look at where he taught them virtue, where he taught them knowledge, where he taught them self-control, where he taught them patience, where he taught them godliness, brotherly kindness, and love. You know what I'm saying? All these things come right out the law. That if these people would have kept these things, they would have bare fruit when they went in the land. You know what I'm talking about? Instead of saying everybody 20 and over ain't getting in. So now y'all got to turn around and look at that learning of the Father. Then guess what we're going to have to turn around and do after we look at that? Then go look at a Mashiach, go teach the same things too, right? Then when you would have seen the Son, you would have seen the Father, because all the works that the Son do, the Father do, the Son do likewise. And then you should be adding these things into your faith. And when you add these things to your faith, you wouldn't be dead, but you would be alive, because you would be bringing fruit under Kadesh, because you would have talked about, we'd have been doing what we looked at in Deuteronomy, which was you would have binded this man as a sign on your hands, because you would have been crucified with him. Which is, again, that's the key point, Yah willing, that I see that I'm going to have to reiterate to make sure that that penetrates into your brain. We are not looking at these things just to say, here goes Yahusha. Here goes Yahusha. That's not why we're looking at these things. These things show us a spiritual concept of the plan of salvation and a work that every last one of us must imitate. You know what I'm saying? When you see that, then you should be looking at it as, I need to conform myself to that behavior. As I said earlier, I say it again. Paul said that he will conform you into the image of his Son. To be conformed to the image of his Son, you must imitate this man. This man told you to take up your stake, take up your affliction, and follow him. That means you got to walk in that perfect way. That means you got to imitate him. We can't be sitting back looking at that I'm pointing all this stuff out just for knowledge and informational purposes. You know what I'm saying? This stuff is for you to sit back and look at it and apply it to yourself, to add that to your face so you can see exactly what was done and how he did it and how that applies to you, so you should do it. I know that I always make mention of that, but for some it's not resonating. And because it's not resonating, I'm going to have to be more particular and point that out, that you got to realize you need to do that. You know what I'm saying? That's what you got to do. When he say, let me die the death of the righteous, that my end might be like his, you got to die and be risen again and be born again just like he was. He went and grave the son of Adam. He was born again, the son of Elohim. Because he went in the grave. That's what you supposed to look at when you went in that water to get immersed. You went in the water, the son of Adam. You know what I'm talking about? You came out of son of Elohim. That's what you're supposed to look at, dying the death of the righteous. We don't went over, there's a just man who perished in his righteousness. Say the righteous man perished and no man lay at the heart. You're not laying the heart what this man went and did when he died. No. That's why he said there's a righteous man that perished and no man lay at the heart. You're not laying at the heart. It's too many times where the word tell you to lay it to heart. Lay, ain't that what it say? Numerous times, lay this word up in your heart. Lay it to heart. Lay it to heart. Lay it to heart. Lay it to your mind. Let the word be ingrained in your mind. Then your faith will be strong. That's why he said if you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. If you get in a situation where you're ready to fall out and your faith gets shaken, that's because you hadn't laid the word up in your heart. Man, look at, man, you could be in a situation, you could get depressed, or this, that, there, and the third, and you feel like your hope gone, but guess what's going to happen? You're going to bounce back. You know what I'm saying? You're going to bounce back. You're not necessarily going to be doubting y'all. You're going to be doubting yourself. You're not going to give up on y'all. No matter what type of thoughts come in your head, the one thing that ain't going to come in your head is, I ain't giving up on y'all. That's not going to happen. Okay then. So, Matthew 11:27. We got to, I sit back and see, man, we got to strengthen people's faith up. And that's what we got to do. That's what we got to do. Faith is the most precious thing that you have. Remember, that's amunah. That's firmness. That's soundness. That means your feet is steadfast in the ground. Can't be moved. Built on a rock. All things are delivered unto me of my Father, and no man know the Son but the Father. Neither know any man the Father save the Son. And he to whomsoever the Son will reveal it. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly of heart. And you shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. Praise ye, y'all, for Yahushua HaMashiach and the word. Y'all understood this stuff this evening.